Look at the Negev desert. For decades, it has kept a terrifying secret. Buried under miles of sand and heavy security, it was supposed to be the safest place on Earth. But yesterday, the sky tore open. The ultimate red line was crossed, and the entire world is waking up to one terrifying, impossible question. How? How did Iran attack an Israeli nuclear site? How does a missile slip through the most advanced, impenetrable air defense grid on the planet? The media is showing you the burning buildings in Arad. They're telling you about the casualties. But what they are not telling you is the exact chilling method used to crack open the vault. Stick with me until the end of this video, because the truth about how this happened in the desert last night means the rules of modern warfare have just been rewritten, and we might be looking at the final countdown. To understand the gravity of how they did it, you first have to understand what Dimona is. It's not just a city in the south. Dimona is the beating heart of Israel's unacknowledged nuclear weapons program. Because of what is inside, Dimona is surrounded by a fortress of invisible steel. It is protected by the Arrow 3 anti-ballistic missile system, Patriot batteries, and the Iron Dome. It is guarded by elite ground units and restricted airspace where any unauthorized aircraft is vaporized without a single warning. It is a facility designed to withstand the apocalypse. So, how do you hit the unhittable target? You don't just use fire, you use shadows. The attack didn't start with engines igniting, it started with absolute silence in the digital realm. Hours before the first physical weapon launched, Western intelligence noticed a massive anomaly. Localized GPS spoofing blacked out navigation and early warning sensors across the region. Iran didn't just fire missiles, they initiated a massive cyber-electronic assault. They blinded the eyes in the sky. They created a digital smokescreen. Then came the swarm. It wasn't a blind barrage, it was a calculated three-tiered sequence designed specifically to exhaust the Israeli defense grid. Phase 1, the decoys. Hundreds of cheap, slow-moving drone swarms flooded the radar-catching junk meant to force the Iron Dome and Patriot systems to lock on and empty their multi-million-dollar magazines on $1,000 drones. Phase 2, the cruise missiles. Flying incredibly low, skimming the desert floor beneath the radar horizon, avoiding detection until the very last second. And then, Phase 3. While the defense grid was overwhelmed looking down and looking around, the true hammer fell from above. Heavy, medium-range ballistic missiles. They exited the Earth's atmosphere, arced through space, and came screaming back down at hypersonic speeds. The sky over southern Israel turned into a war zone of light and fire. The Arrow 3 system performed miracles, intercepting warheads in the vacuum of space. The Iron Dome worked flawlessly against the lower-tier threats. But no shield is perfect. If you throw enough rocks at a window, eventually one breaks the glass. And yesterday, the glass shattered. A cluster of heavy ballistic missiles broke through the saturated net. They slammed into the southern cities of Arad and Dimona. The shockwaves shattered windows for miles. Over 100 casualties were reported in the first hour alone. First responders described a mass casualty nightmare. But while the world watched the fires in Arad, the real question was burning in the minds of every intelligence agency on Earth. Did a warhead actually strike the iconic silver dome of the reactor? Right now, there is a total media blackout regarding the exact condition of the Negev Nuclear Research Center. Iranian state media is claiming a massive victory, stating their multi-layered attack bypassed all defenses and struck the facility directly. The Israeli Defense Forces are maintaining a rigid silence on the facility's status, only confirming hits on infrastructure in the south. If a conventional ballistic missile hit a loaded nuclear reactor, the radioactive fallout could render a massive portion of the Middle East uninhabitable. It would be a catastrophe unlike anything we've seen since Chernobyl. Now you know how they did it. But the terror of this strike is only half the story. The other half is what happens next. Because you do not attack a nation's nuclear facility and expect to see the sunrise without consequence. The Strait of Hormuz has been choked off. Global oil prices are skyrocketing past $115 a barrel. And the President of the United States just slammed a 48-hour ultimatum on the table. Open the strait, stand down the missile forces, or face the complete obliteration of Iran's military infrastructure. The clock is ticking. The UK Royal Air Force is deploying. The Dimona strike proved that the unhittable target can be hit. We are standing on the very edge of the abyss. The next 48 hours will decide if we step back or if we fall in. Now that you know how the attack unfolded, what do you think will happen when that clock hits zero? Will Israel retaliate with an unannounced strike of their own? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one. The situation is evolving by the minute. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. You do not want to miss the next update. Until then, keep your eyes open.